Everyone tells you discipline is the fix. For a specific kind of person, discipline is the thing that's quietly destroying them. You don't slack off. You wake up early, you hit your goals, you keep your emotions in check. And somewhere around 35, you stop feeling anything when you win. Not burned out. Just numb, in the middle of achieving everything you set out to achieve. Here's the part nobody tells you, this isn't burnout in the classic sense. Psychologist Thomas Lynch spent over 25 years studying people exactly like this, highly disciplined, emotionally reserved, rule-following. He found their crisis was never about running out of energy. It was a breakdown in social signaling. The very trait that made them elite performers, suppressing impulses, delaying gratification, staying composed, was quietly disabling their ability to connect with anyone. And it's not just a theory. The willpower as a muscle idea most disciplined content is built on has largely collapsed. The psychologist behind the original ego depletion theory later admitted, at the peak of his career, that the finding wasn't real. Multiple labs tried to replicate it and failed. If willpower isn't a tank you drain, then just push harder was never the right advice. This isn't a productivity problem. It's biological. Researchers running the 50-year Dunedin study found accelerated aging at the cellular level, starting specifically in the 30s, in people who'd been overriding stress since childhood. Their bodies weren't feeling less stress. They were just better at not noticing it, until it showed up as damage instead of a warning. Disciplined people don't get less stressed than anyone else. They get worse at noticing they're stressed, which means when it finally breaks through, it doesn't arrive as fatigue. It arrives as irritability, gut problems, and a strange emptiness in the exact moments they're supposed to feel proud. Call it the discipline debt. Every time you override a signal, hunger, loneliness, exhaustion, the urge to just stop, you're not eliminating the cost. You're financing it. Deferring payment. And debt, deferred long enough, compounds. The Dunedin data backs this up almost literally. Childhood self-control only predicted about half as much of your adult outcomes as people assume, meaning that discipline since childhood identity most high achievers build their whole self-image on isn't a fixed trait. It's a balance that moves. Which is either terrifying or the best news you'll hear today, depending on which direction you've been moving it. Think of it like credit. Discipline lets you borrow against your future self to fund today's output. That works, until the interest comes due. And the interest on suppressed emotion isn't paid in dollars. It's paid in connection, in health, in the ability to feel anything when you finally get what you wanted. Here's the part that should really bother you, not every disciplined trait is dangerous. Decades of follow-up research on the original Type A personality studies found that ambition, competitiveness, even 80-hour weeks, none of it independently predicted heart disease. Only one thing did, hostility. Suppressed resentment. So discipline was never the killer. What you did with the resentment underneath it was. High performers are also the least likely to ask for help, not because they can't access it, but because their career has become the whole scoreboard. Admitting exhaustion doesn't feel like self-care to them. It feels like defaulting on the loan. So they hide the crash until it's no longer optional. So stop asking, how do I get more disciplined? That's the debt talking. Ask instead, what am I overriding right now that I'll be paying interest on in 10 years? The goal was never to become someone who can suppress more. It's to become someone who doesn't need to.